They called him the coward cop of the precinct, until the city's most dangerous killer fell to his knees and begged him for mercy. You might have seen plenty of tough cops in movies, the ones who walk into a bar fight and clear the room with a single glare. But have you ever met a cop who jumps at the sight of a hamster? A cop who is treated like the office errand boy by his juniors? Who is made to sweep the floor and still says yes sir to every insult? Now here's the twist. What if a serial killer, the kind even the FBI and CIA couldn't catch, fell to his knees in front of this cowardly cop? Sounds impossible, right? Wait till you hear the whole story. His name was Landon Ayers. On paper, he was a police officer. In reality, he was the guy everyone sent out for coffee and donuts. And the one who ordered him around the most was Vice Captain Apollo Hardy, a tall guy with a loud voice and a permanent smirk. "Hey, Landon, run down to the cafe, get us all coffees." Landon didn't even argue. Yes, Vice Captain, I'll get it right now." Landon wasn't just polite, he was scared of making anyone mad. The whole department knew it. They treated him like, well, like a servant who happened to wear a badge. So Landon went to the cafe, bought the coffees with his own money, and carried the tray back. Apollo grinned. "You know what? We're in the mood to smoke cigars. Run down to Mike's smoke shop, get some for everyone. Oh, and don't be late, or I'll have you suspended." Landon frowned. "But Vice Captain, Team Leader Chloe is about to get here. She called for an urgent case meeting." Apollo laughed. "You solve a case? Landon, you couldn't catch a pickpocket in 10 years. Now go, run." And just like that, Landon was out the door again. By the time he came back, Team Leader Chloe Reed was already inside the conference room. The meeting had started. Chloe's eyes locked on him. "Landon Ayers, this is a police station. We have a critical meeting. And you're late? What were you doing? Enjoying a smoke break?" Before Landon could answer, Apollo cut in, smirking. "That's all he does, boss. He smokes cigars and sits around on his fat ass." Chloe's voice hardened. "I expect better from you, Landon." The case in discussion was no joke. 7 young women were found brutally raped and murdered. First, the killer assaulted them, then mutilated them in ways too horrible to repeat. The bodies were left in different places across the city. Last night, victim number 7 was found. Chloe's words cut like glass. "This is a serial killer we're talking about. In 7 cases, you have not provided me with a single solid lead. If we don't have a breakthrough in 1 week, I'll shut this precinct down and suspend every single one of you." The room went silent. Even Apollo, who had been mocking Landon just minutes ago, was now staring at the floor. And then, from that corner stool, Landon's voice came, soft, almost unsure. "Team Leader, I've noticed something. All the victims were educated, working women." Apollo slammed a hand on the table. "Oh, for crying out loud. He's never even caught a car thief. Now he thinks he's a profiler?" Chloe ignored Apollo. "Go on, Landon." Landon hesitated. "Well, never mind. I forgot what I was going to say." Apollo pounced. "See, boss? This is useless, Landon. Get out. Go stand outside in the sun." A couple of officers hid their smiles. Landon dropped his head and walked out. So there he stood outside the precinct in the midday sun, baking in his uniform, a man with a badge, but no respect, a man mocked by his own team. And yet, this was the man a serial killer would soon come running to for help. How? That's the part nobody in the precinct could explain. Not then, not even now, because Landon Ayers was hiding something powerful enough to terrify a man who'd butchered 7 women without fear of the FBI, state police, or anyone else. But if Landon was that powerful, why did he put up with the humiliation? Why let his juniors treat him like dirt? The truth would shock the entire department, and the real question everyone asked later was, who in their right mind had allowed a man like this to stay in the police force? Let's roll it back to that sunny afternoon. Landon was standing outside, hands in his pockets, the sweat soaking through his shirt.
From inside he could hear Chloe's voice, sharp, commanding, laying out orders to Apollo and the rest of the team. They were scrambling, trying to piece together the killer's movements. Landon just stood there, looking down the street, like a man with nothing left to prove. The meeting had just wrapped up when Vice Captain Apollo Hardy's phone rang. He answered lazily, still leaning back in his chair. "Sir, this is the county jail. The inmate Vicky Don was executed this morning. No family has come to claim the body. The police department will have to handle the body." Apollo snorted. "Don't we have anyone dumb enough to do it?" His eyes landed on Landon Ayers outside, the most timid officer in the whole precinct. "Hey, Landon, I've got a job for you. Vicky Don's dead. We need his body taken to the morgue tonight. I am assigning the task to you." Landon froze. A body? No, sir, I'm terrified of dead bodies." Apollo laughed loud enough for the whole room to hear. "You're scared of dead criminals, too. Just transport Vicky's body quietly tonight, or get ready for a suspension." Landon's face went pale. He knew Apollo wasn't joking. With no way out, he drove to the jail, loaded Vicky Don's body into the back of a county ambulance, and started toward the morgue. Halfway there, the ambulance jolted over a speed bump. The white sheet covering the corpse slipped away from Vicky's face. His eyes were wide open. Landon screamed, the sound tearing through the night. Then everything went black. Landon Ayers vanished that night. Didn't show up at the precinct the next day. Apollo barely noticed Landon's absence. He was too busy scrambling for leads on the serial killer case to avoid his own suspension. In his mind, Landon was useless anyway. But 2 days later, Landon walked into the precinct. No uniform, just jeans, a t-shirt, and a cigar in his hand. Apollo's eyes widened. "Well, look who crawled back from the dead. Where the hell have you been? I thought maybe you were locked in the morgue with Vicky's body. And what are you wearing? Team leader Reed will be here any minute. I'll deal with you after she leaves. For now, clean my shoes." Landon smiled faintly. "Sure. Hand me the shoes. I'll make them shine like a mirror. You should be able to see your face in them." What happened next, no one in the precinct could have predicted. Landon took the shoes, then hurled them straight at Apollo's face. "There, take a look at your face in those shoes." "Want me to polish your face next?" Apollo stumbled back, stunned. "You piece of shit! How dare you! I'll have your suspension letter written right now." But Landon didn't flinch. Instead, he shoved Apollo hard in the chest, then spat onto Apollo's face. "Keep your job. I'm done working for a cheapskate like you," said Landon, his eyes red with rage. The entire station went silent. This was the same man who'd been afraid of his own shadow 2 days ago. The same man who'd never raised his voice to anyone. And now, he was going after the loudest guy in the room. The front doors swung open, and team leader Chloe Reed walked in. She froze, taking in the scene. Apollo was wiping his face, officers were staring, and Landon was standing there, looking like he owned the place. Chloe yelled coldly, "What is going on here? Do you people ever work? The serial killer's still out there terrorizing the city, and you're fighting?" Landon spoke first. "Team leader, he was telling me to fetch him cigarettes." Apollo jumped in, grabbing Landon's collar. "Ma'am, he's lying. Look at his clothes. Listen to his words. I don't know what's gotten into him." Chloe's eyes hardened as she turned to Landon. "What is this, Landon? Where is your goddamn uniform? What these casual clothes? You're not serious about this job. You're off this case. Get out." That's when it happened. The fire in Landon's eyes went out. Just like that. His shoulders slumped. His voice trembled. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please, Vice Captain Hardy, say something. Let me stay on the case. I promise I'll work hard." Everyone just stared. 2 minutes ago, Landon had been all swagger. Now he was the same nervous wreck they'd always known. Apollo, still stinging from the insult and the spit, wasn't in a forgiving mood. He kicked Landon in the shin and growled, "Get out of my sight. Go sit at your desk and write 'Sorry, Vice Captain Hardy' 1,000 times." Landon didn't argue. He just bowed his head, walked to his desk, and pulled out a notepad. Apollo's team went into the meeting room for the team leaders' briefing. Meanwhile, Landon sat alone, writing "Sorry, Vice Captain Hardy" over and over. Two detectives from another unit were at a nearby desk, looking at something on a laptop. It was a crime scene photo, and they were laughing. Nobody in that room knew the full story of where Landon Ayers had been for the last 48 hours, or what had really happened after that speed bump on the road to the cremation ground. But soon, everyone would. It was just another slow afternoon at the precinct. A few officers sat around their desks passing the time. An officer grumbled, "10-year-old murder case. No body left, no evidence, no witnesses. They dumped it on us just to punish us. No one's ever solved it. No one ever will." That caught the attention of Landon, who'd been sitting at the next desk. Landon wasn't exactly famous around here for his detective skills. Most days, he kept his head down and avoided trouble. But this time, something changed. Landon ripped the notepad he'd been writing on. Landon added, "What kind of case is so impossible no one's cracked it in 10 years? The chatter in the room died down. Even the guys pretending to work started listening in. The police officer sitting behind Landon leaned forward in his chair. "All right, you want to know? Fine. Here's the story. The victim was a real piece of work, a drunk, a gambling addict who never held a steady job. Owed a ton of money to the wrong people. Word is, he got picked up by the Mafia. When he couldn't pay, they stormed into his house, stabbed him 40 times, and killed him right there." Landon replied, "Mafia, huh? You know who they were?" Connor explained. "Not a clue. The guy's wife came in a couple of times, gave a statement, but then stopped showing up. Wouldn't say a word against anyone. After that, the case went cold. File closed." Landon listened carefully, then smirked. "Let me ask you something. If I borrowed 50 grand from you, would you want the money back? Or would you kill me?" Connor snorted. "Obviously, I'd want the money back, genius. Who kills the guy who owes them? You'll never get your cash that way." Landon added, "Exactly, which means someone else wanted him dead." Now the wheels were turning in the other officers' heads. Why hadn't any of them thought about that before? Landon questioned. "Where's his wife now?" Connor replied, "Living it up with her second husband." Landon suggested, "Then talk to the new guy and the wife. They know more than they are saying." It was such a simple angle, but it was like a light bulb going off in the room. 10 years, and no one had connected the dots. Just then, Chloe wrapped up a meeting in the conference room with Vice Captain Apollo's team. "You said this guy was useless? He just made more progress in 10 minutes than you have in a month. Apollo, keep him in your team." Vice Captain Apollo didn't have much of a comeback. He started to say something, but Landon strolled over. "Don't be so jealous, boss." Chloe's eyes flared. "Landon, this is not the time to fool around. If we don't catch that serial killer this week, every single one of you is out on the street." Again, a switch flipped inside Landon. 1 second, he looked confident. The next, he shrank back into the old, timid version of himself. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I messed up, but give me a chance. I'll catch that guy in 24 hours. The room went silent. Even Apollo cracked a smile and said, "You? 24 hours? We've been on this for 2 months and haven't found anything. You think you're Sherlock Holmes now just because you had a lucky guess on one case?" Landon added, "It's not luck. I noticed something." His voice was quiet, but steady. All the victims were found near the Silver Lantern bar. All of them were young women, educated, about to start new jobs, not street girls, modern, ambitious women. Chloe's eyes narrowed. "You're right. That's a pattern we missed. Apollo, we're going down there tonight." That's when one of the police officers piped up from the back. Boss? That's the same bar we've tried to raid for years. Every time we get close, the cops assigned to it end up,
Well, gone. The room went cold. Everyone knew what he meant. The Silver Lantern wasn't just a bar. It was a trap. No one said it out loud, but they were all thinking the same thing. If Landon was right, they weren't just dealing with a serial killer. They were stepping straight into a war zone. It was one of those nights where trouble seemed to be waiting in the shadows. Apollo stood in the middle of the precinct, a sly grin curling on his lips. "We're all going to the Silver Lantern bar tonight," he announced. The team froze. Everyone knew the Lantern wasn't just some neighborhood dive. It was the kind of place where people went in with secrets, and sometimes didn't come out at all. Still, when Apollo gave an order, everyone followed it. The squad rolled up to the place in unmarked cars, parking just far enough to keep from drawing attention. Neon lights flickered over the brick facade like a warning. One of the younger officers cleared his throat. "Sir, you're the leader. You go in first. We'll, hang back." Apollo arched an eyebrow. "So you want me to wait here for the killer to stroll out and introduce himself? No, no. I think our bravest soldier should go in." He turned, looking straight at Landon, and said sarcastically, "Our most intelligent man, the master of finding clues." Landon's heart skipped. He could feel sweat prickling the back of his neck. "Sir, please, come with me. Don't make me do this alone." Apollo just smirked. Then, without warning, he gave Landon a firm shove right in the backside, sending him stumbling toward the front door. As the door swung shut behind Landon, Apollo turned to the rest of the team, his voice low and mocking. "Gentlemen," he said, "we regret to inform you that we will lose one of our own tonight." The squad broke into laughter, nervous laughter, but laughter all the same. Inside, the air was thick with cigarette smoke, cheap perfume, and a slow, sultry song. A row of half-dressed dancers swayed under the glow of spotlights, their shadows stretching long across the stage. In the darker corners, hands passed small plastic bags full of drugs. Landon's instincts screamed at him to get out, but something about the place tugged at his memory. It felt familiar. That's when he saw him, a man in a dark gray suit, the scar running along his jaw. Landon instantly knew that he was the serial killer. Landon took a deep breath and walked straight toward him. "I need a word with you," Landon said, stopping at the edge of the serial killer's table. The serial killer looked up slowly, his smile thin and dangerous. "You? Not dressed like that, you don't." Before Landon could respond, his security guard stepped forward. In one quick motion, he pulled out knives, long, sharp, and deadly. He pressed the tip so close to Landon's eye he could see his own reflection in the steel. Landon didn't flinch. "You need to hear this now." Landon turned, taking a step away, as if the knife wasn't even there. "Wait!" the serial killer's voice called out, sharp and curious. What do you have to say?" Landon pivoted back, stepped in close, and leaned down so only the serial killer could hear. The words Landon whispered. No one else caught them. But the effect was immediate. The man's face changed. First confusion, then shock, and then tears. Actual tears in the eyes of one of the most feared men in the city. Around them, conversations stopped. The music kept playing, but it felt like the whole room had frozen. The dancers stood still, their hands gripping the poles. No one could believe what they were seeing. What had Landon said to him? What secret could make a man like that cry? No one moved, no one spoke. And before anyone could stop him, Landon turned and walked toward the back exit, disappearing into the shadows. Landon led the serial killer out of the bar as he continued to cry. Outside, Apollo Hardy and Chloe Reed and all the other officers couldn't believe their eyes when Landon walked out with their serial killer. He fell on his knees and confessed to everything, right then and there. What had Landon Ayers whispered to break a man like that? Where had he gone for 2 days?
And what came back in his place? Why did a serial killer fall at his feet? What's the secret behind this sudden change in him?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.